That's our responsibility, to make sure that Australian children learn about their own country, the incredible strength of the governance of Aboriginal people. If we can start telling those stories and Australians can take some pride in them, maybe it'll flow through into the kind of society we create.
Being connected with Australian stories, being connected with amazing Australian storytellers starts when we're kids.
We're not just born from stories, we're born into stories, and then we grow up with stories. They teach us about the world we live in, about who we are and where we're going.
I think there's a raw honesty to Australian writing that is unique. It's both confronting and comforting.
Why are Australian stories so important? Because they tell our story.
Close to 50% of the books we sell are Australian books. And they're wonderful stories. They entertain us, they provoke us, they tell us what our society is like.
All cultures and all societies are defined by their art, which is why Australian books are so important. It's why Australian stories are so important.
Books are everything for us. They changed my life, they changed the lives of writers, and they changed the lives of readers.
Australian writers, like writers everywhere in the world, try to open those doors between different nations, different cultures, different people, and different aspects of history in a way that should benefit us all. We need them.
Well, for me it was Ruth Park's Harp in the South. It was just such a powerful story.
It was warm, she was real.
I can actually today still picture the Surrey Hills that Ruth Park's depicted.
Monkey Grip by Helen Garner's got to be my favourite. It's a fantastic book.
I have to go with Where is the Green Sheep by Mem Fox and Judy Horacek, and it really starts a lifelong love of reading.
Every character in My Brother Jack, such a fabulous, viscerally alive picture of Australia. The drinking and the violence and the sex and the beauty of it just absolutely burst off the page for me.
Sally Morgan's My Place. It took me into the Indigenous Australian world in a way that I should have been before, I should have understood before, and it opened my mind up.
The Margaret Fulton original cookbook. This was one of the very first books I was given when I left home. I've now got 46,000 odd cookbooks.
Marcus Clarke's For the Term of His Natural Life. Here's this book which is obsessed by notions of crime, punishment, incarceration, imprisonment. Literature makes memory permanent. It finds ways for us to recover the past, not in ways which are consoling for us, but in ways which are very confronting.
The Middle Parts of Fortune, no less than Ernest Hemingway, said it was the greatest novel ever written about World War I.
Peter Carey's The True History of the Kelly Gang.
Robert Hughes' The Fatal Shore.
The Thornbirds, which in 1977 was published and went on to sell 13 million copies over the next 20 years. I think it was remarkable because it showed that an Australian story and an Australian setting, and it would capture the imaginations of a global audience.
Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden. I mean, that was groundbreaking to me.
Miles Franklin's My Brilliant Career. She left a remarkable literary legacy. She was the beginning of a long line of gutsy women writers in Australia.
The Glass Canoe and The Unknown Industrial Prisoner are both fantastic works, inventive, rich, wise, intelligent.
It is utterly vital for all Australians to have their stories, their history, their culture mapped by Australians writing in Australian books produced in this country.
You feel like there are ways to understand what's going on around you.
As booksellers, I think that really we're matchmakers. We're not sellers of anything. We are just connecting people with the right books. It's just about community, isn't it?
Remember that there is this common humanity, the ways in which we're different, the ways in which we form a community on the basis of that difference. Those Australian stories are the really exciting ones, and it's through our storytellers, it's through our literary sector that we tell them best of all. We'd be lost without them.